Let's start off with the knife sheath, the DNA, which is called the seminal piece in the Kohberger case. You were rather outspoken about maybe a red flag that was involved in this, and the prosecution. Now, there's so many moving parts with this, but bring us up to date on that DNA trace evidence on the knife sheath and what caught your eye and your interest about it.
So the knife sheath profile. The identification is Kohberger. There's no question. It's a good identification, not a problem. There's no evidence of contamination that I saw, and there's no reason to think it happened. My problem with what the prosecution was going to do was that they proffered to the court that the state expert in Idaho at the DNA lab here, who I know, was going to say that she could tell that the DNA on that tab, that metal circle, was direct contact. That is, Kohberger's hand or body part was on that directly, and that's impossible. It's an argument that's going on in the field. It's recent, where some experts are willing to say they can tell how DNA got somewhere. Really, what DNA is good at is telling who. It's definitely Kohberger. How it got there, nobody knows how it got there. Nobody can know. I mean, Kohberger might know, maybe a person who saw it, but no DNA expert can tell how DNA got there. The strength and the weakness of DNA is that it's easy to move. You just take a cotton piece of cloth, or a Q-tip we use. We call it a swab, but it's a Q-tip. And you just rub it, and you can move the DNA somewhere else, or some of it. You smear it, basically, and you move it around.
So would that mean that it could have been planted? I'm not. So you're saying that it's easy to identify someone's DNA. It's on the sheath, but someone could take a Q-tip possibly and put someone's DNA on something.
Well, that's definitely true. I'm not saying that happened in Kohberger. What I'm objecting to very strongly is that a DNA expert will risk ruining our field by saying they can tell it wasn't done that way, or that it was done a certain way. Let's say you lend someone your knife or whatever, and or you have a gym clothes and you put a knife in with the gym clothes or whatever. Well, DNA moves around, especially by contact. And we just can't tell how it got anywhere. Now, that doesn't mean that every scenario is equally reasonable. That's what the hardworking, the people I respect most in the courtroom, the jurors, they got to decide how. And they're told to use their common sense. And I think that's good, but I don't think that's my job. I don't think my job on the stand is to give my common sense opinion. My job on the stand is to represent not even my experience, though they allow me to do that. They allow me to give an opinion based on my few cases. And really what I should represent is the state of the field. You want your doctor to know all the medicines, right? Not just the ones they've used for 20 years, the new medicines too. And that's what I try to do.
Well, with him pleading guilty and getting 4 life sentences, and obviously my opinion is guilty as can be, but I could never figure out that at a crime scene that they said the blood was leaking from the house. How did he wear a special suit? How was the car? Even though you clean with bleaches,
yeah.
How is something from a crime scene like that? And Greg, I mean, this is what you do. How does someone clean all that up, no matter what? There's got to be a speck or something that they didn't find, correct?
I mean, we would imagine if someone's at a scene, you're shedding, 10,000 cells an hour or more, right? And so your DNA is likely everywhere that you've been, but the likelihood of any lab analyst finding the right spot and picking it, that there's a lot of variables that play into that. But 2 important cases. I mean, Amanda Knox's case that I worked on a bit. The prosecutor said she cleaned up all her DNA from the crime scene because they didn't find any of her DNA at the crime scene. And I laughed and said, God, I'd love to hire her, because that's a remarkable skill to be able to visually see DNA and clean it off. And in the OJ case, famously, I remember asking Henry Lee, who was a mentor to me, how it could have been done. What are people saying? if there's no blood on his clothing or in his drain, they check the shower drain. And I'm not an expert on the OJ case, but everybody has to talk about it. And Henry said to me, some people say maybe he wore a wetsuit. And I thought, well, that's as good an explanation,